Hi everyone, welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII. Today we are going to go through these ruins and finish up Chapter 3.
I have enjoyed Chapter 3 a lot more than Chapter 2, although that's not really going to be a surprise to anyone.
I think everybody enjoys Chapter 3 more than Chapter 2. First, let's have some hilarity. Preemptive striking on a behemoth.
Remember that Preemptive Strike starts you off with an almost full stagger meter, so instant 5 times damage multiplier, which very quickly becomes 6 times. Yeah, Preemptive Strikes are great. They stop just short of allowing you to essentially trivialise any battle that you can get into in this game. They are really great.
I'm tougher than you thought, huh?
You sure are, Vanille, you sure are.
Please promise me we're never going to let Vanille get the winning move on an enemy ever again.
I can't promise that, but I'll do my best.
So yeah, we commented earlier on how the game works out battle ranks, and like it just bears some pointing out that Preemptive Strike does not change like the amount of points per second you get or the target time that you need to get 5 stars, and it gives you a 1.5 times point
1.2.
multiplier.
1.2.
Yeah, 1.2. Sorry. So all in all, yeah. Also, this place looks really good.
It really does. I really like the fire crystals.
Yeah, I think Saz agrees with us. Although it does start calling into question what exactly governs what gets turned into crystal and what doesn't. Because earlier we were like, okay, there was crystal water, and that was all very impressive. And then there was crystal rock, and now there's crystal fire, but not crystal stone.
Yeah, best not to think about it too hard.
I think this game might be internally inconsistent, you guys.
Anyway, this is the Crusader. He is the Myrmidon's big brother. But he goes down in much the same way.
Although, I can't help but notice that you lost Saz.
Yeah, Saz died on me, but that's okay.
We've got Phoenix Downs. And hey, this game has good Phoenix Downs that give you like 70% health.
Yeah, you might also notice that Lightning is spamming Ruin here instead of Attack. That is because the Crusader is resistant to physical attacks.
Yeah, the AI is pretty good at, not doing dumb things like using physical attacks against enemies that are resistant to them. Like, Ruin is the other commando basic action. It just does magic damage. There's no element, and it's not a magic spell like what the Ravagers have, so it's not like it does big stagger. It just does damage using the character's magic stat.
Yeah, it's a really good system that I would like to see in future Final Fantasies. In as much as, you having physical and magical variants on, everything.
It also, sharply calls into focus the fact that Lightning's Gladius sword is not the straight upgrade it appears to be.
Yeah, there was a quick fade out there because I just got a spark ring from that item ball, which increases your resistance to electricity by 20%. And I thought about upgrading it, or not upgrading it, but equipping it on someone, and then I decided against it, and then you didn't need to see me fumbling around in the menu for a minute.
Just think, last chapter that would have been a refreshing break from the monotony. That's how far we've come. Speaking of how far we've come, this is one of the few areas that has the semblance of not being a straight line. I mean, it actually is a straight line, but
Yeah, Vanille is, if she was going over to those stairs, there's actually a shortcut over there that you can use to skip this entire section, but really, that would be a waste of experience, so we're just going to go ahead and trudge through it. We got a new enemy here, anyway.
well, you say new. Like, we are really firmly into Palette Swap Town here, and it's only the first real chapter.
Well, that's true. Final Fantasy XIII does use a lot of palette swaps, but they do get new models. Like, it's technically the same guy as from the first chapter, but he's got new adornments on his, shoulder pads and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you seem to really like using potions instead of switching to someone with a medic.
Yeah, I probably should just equip lightning with the doctor's code, but it's easier than sitting... Really, the main reason I don't do it is the fact that the first time you change paradigms, you get that stupid cutscene.
Ah, yes. That little gimmick.
It's like, I could do that and sit through that every time somebody gets low on health, or I could use one of my 50 potions.
Yeah. Final Fantasy XIII, on the whole, rewards regular paradigm shifts in a battle. Like, there's also another little mechanic that we'll demonstrate later at some point, but for now, it rewards paradigm shifting in a battle a lot. Except, the first time that you paradigm shift in a battle, everyone does the I'm unilaterally changing my strategy dance, which takes about 2 seconds to complete, and during those 2 seconds your characters can't do anything, but the enemies can. And that's really dumb.
Yeah, so basically, if you only need to shift once, you really shouldn't shift.
Yeah. Also, that looked like an interesting item.
Yes, that was a nugget of Millerite. Millerite is used in the item upgrade system.
There's an item upgrade system?
There is!
My god.
But we will talk about it later because it is really stupid.
And how?
It's not very well explained, and the actual benefits are not that great until much later in the game, so yeah, we'll deal with it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna complain a lot about the item upgrade system. It's one of the focal points for my intense dislike of the game.
Anyway, if we had taken the shortcut that Vanille had pointed out, this is where we would have come out.
Yeah, unlike the last time we were in a really poorly explained dungeon full of stupid staircases, there actually is a point to fighting enemies, and that we're actually getting experience, and we can do Crystarianing. So, there's a benefit. Not a very big benefit.
Yeah, so yeah, in future videos you are going to see a lot of fades out because there's no reason to throw good experience away, so I'll fight them anyway, but you don't have to see them.
Yeah, we're gonna have mercy on you guys.
And that is actually the end of the dungeon. Right up those stairs, as denoted by the little yellow exclamation point, is the boss. So we're just going to grab these items here real quick and then top off the Crystarium.
Oh boy. While we zoom through the Crystarium, I would just like to quickly point something out. Saz made a little offhand comment, entirely off camera and very quietly to himself, that it looks like the Psychom guys are using some kind of device to cast magic. This is one of those little lore/world-building details that gets pointed out in the data log, and gets the barest mention in-game. But yeah, you'll see enemies doing magic, but they are not l'Cie, they're not casting real magic, they're just using this device to synthesize magic.
It's called mana, they call it mana drives.
Because of course they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was your fun Final Fantasy XIII fact for the day. It's really pretty.
It is.
Also, I think there's something flying above them. I was going to say try not to make any noise, but it looks like video is ruining that.
Well, I think it found her.
Well, that's just great. Yeah, those sure are some noises that she's making. Like, seriously. Oh well, here's a boss.
Alright, so this is the Garuda Interceptor. He is weak to wind, as we will see here in a second, but otherwise there is really nothing special about him. He's actually a pretty sad excuse for a boss, all things considered.
Yeah. One of the other little blink and you might have missed it details that we've been kind of glossing over is enemy chain resistance, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Some enemies will build up stagger meter a lot faster than others. And this guy builds up pretty quickly and staggers at 170, so yeah, he's gonna die.
But of course, can't be that easy. So he has a second stage.
It's charging up.
Charging? What are you talking about? Charging for what?
Saz continuing his comedy man routine. And Lightning continuing her "this is what Square Enix thinks all badasses are like" routine.
Alright, so for Phase 2 he picks up a new toy, and that is the Barrier. Not only is he much harder to stagger now, as you can see, we are barely doing any damage, because he is resistant to both magic and physical attacks.
Well, if only there was some way we could increase the amount of damage that he takes. Perhaps via some method of throwing lots of attacks of our own.
Yes, as Fiddle is not so subtly pointing out, a lot of enemies that use tactics like this, they will lose their barrier once they get staggered. There are other ways around it too, but we don't have access to them right now.
Yeah, I think we said this earlier, that a lot of enemies manage to have different, like entirely different attributes based solely on whether or not they're staggered. And here we see the actual benefit of using items instead of medics, and that it allowed us to keep up our assault, while also healing.
Fortunately, just like the first phase, he has almost no health, so once he gets staggered, he'll be dead before the stagger meter is even half empty.
As demonstrated. Only 4 stars though.
And that's still only 4 stars. Aha, but this is important. After getting to certain points in the story, two things can happen. First, as you saw, the big Crystarium expanded. The Crystarium is capped to certain points in the story, so you can only get so strong. Which is something not a lot of people don't like, but I actually really like that.
It's one way for them to keep a lid on your progression.
The other, slightly more important, but whatever. The other thing is that we also got new jobs for Vanille and Saz, which we will talk about next chapter.
Mm-hmm. They looked interesting.
This'll make things easier.
One of them is even in the name of the battle system, sort of.
Probably missing an engine.
Because every Final Fantasy game must have a battle system with a name, this whole deal is known as the Command Synergy Battle System. And it uses paradigms. I'll bet it's also a market leader. Also, we got a new shop.
Yes, we did.
It's called Up in Arms. I wonder what it sells.
I can't imagine. It's gotta be armor.
Yeah. Hey, Snow's still there.
He's made lots of progress, as you can see.
Looks like he's really been chipping away at it. Well, gee. It's almost like this was a really stupid plan. But don't worry, heroes don't need plans.
Sweeping to base. The C spot. I repeat, the C spot. Pulse the C. Confirmed.
I don't know how they confirm that.
You gonna lend me a hand or what?
There's your little mana drives in action there.
Yeah, they're the same thing as Lightning's little gravity device.
Clean up. Let me help.
Also, credit where it's due. Snow just speared the fuck out of a couple guys.
Yep. He is quite good at violence. That is his deal. And now we're going to have to punch a whole lot of guys. Oh, do you know what would have been really nice? Is if we could have, gone to the Crystarium and leveled up a bit before this fight. That would have been really nice.
I'm pretty sure you actually can if you die. Because it kicks you back out to the menu.
Oh yeah. This is one of those fights.
Yeah, but it's really not necessary.
The good news is that because this is a one-person party in this fight, that the getting kicked back to the menu system isn't anywhere nearly as dumb as it could be. But that's really just due to a particular aspect of one-person parties that I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Also, if I was thinking ahead, I would have given Snow the doctor's code before he left the party, but whatever. I only needed to heal once.
Yeah, it's not a massive priority. Hey, no rating.
Because it's cutscene time.
Oh boy. I have a feeling that something amazing and stupid is about to happen.
So yeah, say hello to Stria and Nyx, the Shiva sisters.
They're multiplying. Also, hi. So they're on our side, right?
Oh, totally. Wait, no, something's not right. Oh no, something is definitely not right.
Yeah, since we just skipped the tutorial, I guess we're gonna have to explain this ourselves.
Alright, these are Eidolon fights. They are basically the most blatant puzzle gamey things in the entire game.
And generally very stupid.
Yes. So as you can obviously tell from the big thing going down, we have Doom cast upon us, and if we do not win this fight before it runs out, it is a game over.
Yeah, even when you have a multiple person party, it's still really dumb, because when your leader dies, instant game over.
Alright, so there's two things. Alright, so all Eidolon fights have two things to them. You can always get... We have to fill up the Gestalt gauge in order to clear the fight.
Yeah, you can see they have that instead of a health gauge.
And you can fill it up in two ways. All Eidolons are vulnerable to getting chained on. So if you build the stagger gauge up, you'll boost it that way. But in addition, each of them has their own gimmick. Shiva's is we have to use the Sentinel ability to guard attacks.
Yeah, if you looked at the Libra screen, you'd say there would be a note in there that says it responds well when you do this or when you do that. So, in theory, this is very simple. All we have to do to win is do those things before the timer runs out.
Of course, this is your introduction to them, so the game is very, very kind to you. Not only is the second sister constantly casting Curaga on you, you really can't die here. The only way to fuck this up is by running out of time.
Oh, that's good to know. Also, you'll note that this is the first time we've actually gotten to actually get a good look at a Sentinel in action, because this is technically your Sentinel tutorial. You see that when we're using Steel Guard, which has a nice long duration, we take basically no damage.
Yeah, The trick to beating Shiva is basically use Ravager to beat it up while it's using the ATB charge, and then just Steel Guard everything else.
It's a freebie. Hey.
And of course, once the bar fills up, we enter Gestalt mode. And then really stupid shit starts.
Oh my god, it's so dumb. Oh shit. Transform and roll out.
And that's how Snow got an ice motorcycle.
Yep. Also, Eidolon battles are basically free 5 stars. Note the target time here.
It is not possible to not 5-star an Eidolon fight.
You'll die first.
And of course, after you tame an Eidolon, whoever's Eidolon it is, which in this case is Snow, you get an extra ATB segment for them.
Yeah.
Twin sisters.
So,
I gotta hand it to you for taking them down.
Eidolons
But
being
don't
able
let
to
just
transform
yet.
into
Might come
vehicles
time
is a
you wish
thing
you'd let 'em
in this game.
And made
You'll notice that it's not acknowledged at all in the cutscene immediately after the fight. Snow's just, yep, I fought some people, and then they transformed into a motorbike, and then they disappeared, and nobody seemed to really comment on it other than this person is aware that the fight started.
So let's see. Take him.
So yeah, with
You wanna
one
keep
very
breathing?
important exception, which we will comment lots on at the time, the
Shut up
whole
and come quiet.
vehicle transforming thing is just a stupid thing that happens in this game, and nobody comments on it, and it's amazing.
Bring her this way! Careful now! Come on!
Oh look how fast they got that done. Come on, Snow, what the fuck were you doing?
There are like a whole army of them. And also some of them seem to actually have brains.
Sarah! Sarah! Shut it!
Somehow I feel like it would be,
Stand down.
like, unfair of me somehow to point out that, you know, the whole thing with being healed after battle should mean that Snow physically can't be weakened and captured.
them?
If I were you, I'd worry about myself.
But no, I think I may just be overthinking it again.
And suddenly we're back to lightning and friends.
That sure was a shot of them in the airship. Yeah, it looks like everyone noticed them taking off. Not sure how, but whatever.
So does this remind you of anything?
Well,
Did we get him?
We got one of them.
lightning.
Still behind us.
Stop that!
Honestly, just from musical cues, this reminds me more of Star Wars than anything else.
You wanna die?
How are you gonna lose him?
You got me, kid.
Then let me.
No, thank you.
We're really good at CGI clouds.
They're still on us?
I'm sorry, I tried to think of a way to, like, segue that into a Final Fantasy VII reference, but I just can't.
We're taking hits!
Also, thank you, Saz, I hadn't noticed.
Come on, give me a break!
You know, it's very pretty, but this sequence really goes on for a lot longer than it needs to.
Much like Final Fantasy XIII, then.
For the love of all that's good!
Saz seems very good at piloting this thing.
Next, an update on the status.
Well,
of the
he is
search.
a
Just
civilian
moments
airship
ago,
pilot.
the Sanctum
Oh, of
announced
course,
the
silly me, I
successful
forgot to read the
completion
data
of
log.
search, along with the safe arrival of the cocoon migrants to their new homes.
Also,
on
this thing
Pulse.
has TV.
Yes, that is correct. There's no denying the enormity of the strain the Purge placed on us all. But given the tens of millions of lives at stake, there truly was no alternative.
You'll note that the camera here has gone into perspective on him, and yet it kept on doing the TV voice. That's a basic rookie editing error there.
Remained non-committal, stating only that he would seek counsel with the Falsi Eden and weigh all options before making a decision.
Yeah, that's right. If it makes
There's some more world building happened in the background there. Did you notice it?
In all the centuries since the War of Transgression, Cocoon has been spared pulse aggression and prospered for it. It is essential that we maintain this peace. That is the Sanctum's focus. We will continue employing every resource available to combat these threats to the harmony of our society.
Meaning, we'll be running for the rest of our lives.
Oh, you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this guy?
I mean, what do they teach kids these days? He's Gallant Daisley, the Sanctum Primarch. Murderer-in-Chief.
Colloquially known as Space Pope.
Citizens agree with
Oh,
the Sanctum plan
Lord,
with the
yes.
70% of respondents
God, I
said
love
they would
Space
also
Pope.
support additional purges were the need to arise.
Let's purge everybody. That'll fix it.
It's just such an entertainingly ridiculous design.
It is. I mean, it's a good design. It just happens to be a little over the top, that's all.
Points for
I'm
perseverance.
kind of lost in all the other amount of stupid shit that happens in this game. It looks like they're flying directly up.
Well, they basically are.
Sanctified
For better or for worse, they are more or less in the center of Cocoon right now.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of one of those other small details that I think is kind of important that basically never gets mentioned. Which is that Cocoon, like, is actually entirely on... It's like an inverse planet. I'm sure there's a technical name for this.
There's more of them!
It's like it's a shell, and all the terrain is on the inside of a sphere.
I want to say it's called a Dyson sphere or something like that.
That sounds like the kind of thing that something like this would be called. Yeah, which is why they flew directly up and hit that thing.
Well, unfortunately, we are now falling to our death. So, we will have to deal with the ramifications of that next time.
I'll bet they all die. I bet that's just the end of the game right here.
Yep, 3 chapters, 4 hours. Ship it, boys, we're done. See you guys next time.
Laters.